Hello everybody. In today's class, we are going to learn story writing, which is very important for the young students, even those who want to improve their writing skill. The story writing is very important. Even story is very important to speak in a very auspicious places to make our speech very effective, because the story helps everyone, those who want to be a good speaker, which gives a very good example, and that is attached to the main theme when we give a speech. Now in today's class we are going to learn this story writing, which is very important for class 9th and 10th CBSE students, even for state board students, those who are having a marking scheme. The story writing is. Let's understand in depth about story writing. Now here story writing is very important for CBSE students because it is there in their marking scheme. Story writing is a work of fiction or imagination that is usually written in easily understandable grammatical structure with natural flow of speech. Story writing is very important and it is based on our imagination. How can we create this story in such a nice way so that the readers will get more and more interest in reading? That is very important. So we have to create the story in such a nice way, and we have to use very good adjectives in that. Our imagination is also important, but the most important thing that when we write story writing, we have to use very good grammatical structure. If the structure is not good, the reader does not get more interest in reading. And when the reader starts reading, he gets more and more interest in the story because it is narrated in a very systematic way. And when we start writing a story, it is written, what you can say, when we start writing, it is what we can say as a single sitting writing, and therefore it should be as direct and brief as possible. Brief means, not that much long, short. Story may have 500 words, may have 10,000 words, depends on us. Those are very good story writers, they are having extreme knowledge to share their ideas, to share their imagination, and that's why their story is too long. But here for young students, let them write 100 to 120 words, which is more than enough for them to start their story writing. That is very important. The first and the foremost thing is character. Character is someone or something that takes part in actions depicted in the short story. So when we create a story, we have to create a very good character. The character may be anything. Maybe a living thing, a living person, a non-living thing also. And characters are an unlimited list in that. So the characters could be living person, a dead person, a ghost, a witch, an imaginary character, a robot, any animal, even a toy too. These are what can say n number of characters which we can create in the story. The next is their animating character with perfect adjectives and examples. So after choosing a very good character, we have to decide very good adjectives to set the story in an excellent way. So characters with perfect adjectives and examples are must So, typically, whilst writing short stories, do not overdo the characterization. So, when we describe the character, we have to use adjectives according to the character, but that should not be overdue. Next is the time frame and place constitute setting of the story. So, while writing a story, we have to decide the time frame, on which time frame we have to write that story. Even the place is also important to set a very good story. So, in the introduction of the story, we have to create a very good time frame. For example, a summer autumn season, winter cold season, the wind was blowing too fast and I was sitting alone out of the house waiting for somebody. Maybe possible you have to discuss a very good place, a mall, a forest, a village, a city, an urban area, so anything. But you have to set the story in a very good way. So, the setting is often decorated with the descriptions of scenes such as supermarket, bedroom, crowded metro train, or dazzling evening. Again, this time frame and places are in unlimited list. According to the character, according to our imagination, we have to create this. So these descriptions are very important to make reader immerse in the plot. So these characters, time, and even the place are very important to set a very good plot in the story. We'll discuss in the next PPT about this plot, what exactly plot is. Okay, let's go ahead. Surroundings. So, while describing a story, the surroundings are very important and it must be absolutely clear and very importantly be appealing to 5 senses of your readers. So, suppose the story is set in a room, okay, one event is there and that is created in a room. So, what are the surrounding areas? For example, a sofa is there, a carpet is there, a table is there, right? So, we have to use all these surroundings while creating a very good story. So, we have to be poetic, we have to think, we have to create a very good story, and for that we have to create very good adjectives in that. We have to use suitable adjectives, even the script dialogues, or even display side characters also. So we have to create some more characters. Main characters are there, but along with that we have to create some more characters. So we can connect these other characters with the main characters. And in this way the story goes ahead. Even deploy side characters or do whatever you need to ensure that the reader lives your story while reading. So we have to create the story in such a way that readers enjoy our story. That is very important. The reader should not feel bored. Instead of that, the reader must enjoy our story. The next thing which I was talking about, plot. Plot is flesh and muscles of the story writing. So we can say plot is the heart of the story. So it comprises events and characters, even actions also. So maybe possible you will find one event in a story. Maybe possible that you can find many events in the story. We can say plot within a plot. That is, according to us, we have to create the story in our way. More creatively, you describe and logically connect the events and actions. So, we have to create all the events and actions logically. and we have to make the plot stronger. The plot would be, and the stronger the plot you create, better interest would it generate among readers. So our plot should be very strong, and based on the plot we can generate the story to make the readers happy, and they read number of times. A subplot is also important. Plot has a start, plot has body, and even the plot has end, and that are linked, connected sequentially by events and character actions. Let's see what is there in the plot. The plot has setup, exposition, the beginning part of our story, where you establish the world, the characters, the tone, and even our writing style. These things are very important. Even in the plot, we have to create one rising action so that the reader can enjoy the rising action, what exactly happened. The rising action is usually prompted by our inciting incident. So we have to incite very good incident so the reader enjoys what will happen next. So he becomes very much crazy to read that story. So here we have to accelerate tension and problems, explore our characters, and this is the biggest chunk of your book. So in the movies also we find there are so many movies which are having climax. Climax means turning point, and from that the story turns in a different way, and then after there will be a positive, or we can say happy end. So here climax is there. Climax is the sort of, we can say, the moment of truth, the culmination of everything, the highest point of tension, the point the plot has been leading up to. So climax is very important, and with the help of that climax, the story leads to the end. So rising action is there, climax is there, and then after falling action is also there. What goes up, what must come down, right? So this is where we resolve our subplots and side stories. And last one, we have to end the story, that is called resolution. So we discuss what exactly the conflict is there in the story. So here are some questions that we have to ask ourselves related to conflict. So the questions are: does the scene add to the overall plot? Does the scene advance internal or internal character relationships? Does the scene add to subplot? Does the scene answer to bring about any plot crucial questions? So these questions we have to ask ourselves to create conflict in the story. Next is there resolution. Resolution means how can we end this story? That is what we sit with readers the longest. Story should have a very good end. The story must have a good moral so that readers enjoys a lot. Let's see, so many themes are there. Here are some examples of themes which we can create in our own way. So, a theme is our story's main takeaway, and our story can have one theme or several, right? So here are some examples of different themes which we can create the story in our own. You can also take all these themes and practice a lot to write a very good story. So here, coming of age. Next is that forgiveness, date, love. In love, that overcoming it, processing it, fearing it, empowerment, displacement, motherhood, injustice, good versus bad. This list is literally endless. There are n number of themes are there, and that is what in our imagination. So more we imagine, more we get. So last and final point we discuss here, and that is called morals. Morals are very important. So in story we cannot find only a single moral. There are maybe 1, 2, at least more than 2. We can find moral in the story. So the moral of our story is related to the theme. What message do we want to give in our story? That is very important. There are some morals. For example, don't grow up too fast. Follow our dreams. Listen to the wisdom of others. Accept yourself as you are. Appreciate where you are and what's happening now. Next point is the symbolism. This is very important part of a story. So symbolism is a literary device which is used to convey subtle meanings. So while creating a story, we have to use some symbols which are showing something related to the story. So symbol can be anything from an object, a character, archetype, an animal, an occurrence in nature, a window, an estranged father, a lion, a storm, a desk, a fire. So symbols have meaning connected to them. Here are some examples of symbolism in stories. A window might signify freedom, longing, hope even. A lion might be showing bravery. A storm might be impending doom or threat. A desk could indicate creativity, work, neglect even. It all depends on the context of the story and the connotations you assign to your symbols. These are very important. So symbols are very important to discuss here. The next is the perceptive. Perceptive refers to the characters' interpretations of the world and their attitude towards it. So perceptive is also important to write a story. Now here are a summarize of all the points in a short way of story writing. Number 1 is fewer characters. Number 2, develop characters for theme. Number 3, single and short time frame. Number 4, vivid surroundings, means different surroundings are very important. Number 5, the first line of the first paragraph of introduction must be catchy. Choose suitable point of view. There must be one conflict only, so that we can write, the readers get interest in reading even. Intense but real conflict. No doubt the conflict is there, but it can be intensive, and it should look like real conflict. The next is there theme in focus. We have to focus on the theme what we have decided. And sometimes it happens that the train derails. We break the rules, but when it is needed, we can break the rules even. So here story writing involves creative writing skills. The narrative should be in first or second or third person. The setting of the story should be made, it should be creative. Time, location, context, and atmosphere should be described to create imagery. So that is very important. That can be described in the first paragraph of the story. Meaningful dialogues to be used. Dialogue should have expressions. That is very important. The next is their characterization. You have to identify 2 to 3 main characters and a few side characters in the story. Next, plot of the story should be interesting but short, because the word limit should not be exceeded. So here we are ending our story writing. I hope you have understood the story writing, and I hope even you start your practicing how to write a story writing. There are n number of examples which are given online. You can see many websites which are available, and they give very good ideas to refer to story writing, so that you will get more and more ideas from there. And then after you start writing your creative story. But one thing is very important. After writing story writing, you have to show your gurujis, your teachers who know English well, so that they can find out what exactly the mistakes are. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.